there are really separate psukim, and there are gaps in between. Notice what we put on the board. Yivrachacha Hashem v'yishmerecha, line 1. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka, line 2, blessing number 2. And number 3, Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Okay, you see it. What do we notice about each of the 3 psukim? There's a format. What is the format?
To bless, to make, and to lift up.
3 verbs. It's a command.
What else? What else? What else do you see here?
Describing Shem, another verb.
How many verbs?
There's 2 verbs.
There are 2 verbs in each blessing. And what else in each bracha? Hashem's name. You notice that? Hashem's name is immediately after the first verb. Each. Do you see that? Yivrachacha Hashem. Ya'er Hashem. Yisa Hashem. And at every bracha, there's another verb of action. V'yishmerecha, v'yichuneka, and v'yasem. Okay? We see this divine pattern here. And we ask ourselves, what is each bracha about? What is unique about it? What's not unique about it? Many of the Rishonim, like Rashi and Ibn Ezra, they all talk about that Yevarechecha is material plenty. Bracha is abundance. Bet, Resh, Kaf are the root letters of bracha. We've said it several times in the name of the Maral of Prague. Numerically, Bet is, Resh is 200, and Kaf is 20. So we have the single digit, the tens digit, and the hundreds digit for the word bracha. So here we're talking about material plenty. Okay? Material plenty. However, when we get to the word v'yishmerecha, many of these same Rishonim say, may it be preserved. May you not lose it. Okay? Yivrachacha Hashem will give you plenty. V'yishmerecha, let him guard it for you. That you don't lose this plenty. Because what brings you revenues, you may be able to lose it just as fast as possible, is right? So often Rashi says, so robbers do not meet you. Okay? You got this gift and you didn't lose it, and so on and so forth. Remember, God is the giver, but God is also the protector. Do you understand that? Hashem is the blesser. He's giving you the plenty, the material plenty. And Hashem has the ability for retaining it for you, preserving it for you, not having to suffer a loss from it. However, when we learn Rabbi Ovadia Sforno in his commentary, he says a little different. What does he say? He says, Yevarechecha is be'osher uvenechasim, with wealth and properties. And then he says, she'im ein kemach ein Torah. Why does Rabbi Ovadia the Sforno say, and bring in that famous phrase from Pirkei Avot, God is blessing you with wealth and properties, she'im ein kemach ein Torah, that if there is no flour, there's no Torah. Why does he say that? What do you understand in that meaning? Yes, sir?
Like from kemach you make beretzen is our food, our ochel, and Torah is ochel nefesh.
So what is the purpose of his statement? What is he saying differently than Rashi? Rashi and Ibn Ezra said God is the giver of the properties, the wealth, and God will help you guard it. But Rabbi Ovadia says something else. He says he's going to give you properties, he's going to give you wealth. She'im ein kemach ein Torah. What is the point? You going to say something?
If you don't have the materials, you don't have the end product.
No.
It's related to work.
He's explaining that the objective, the purpose of properties, the purpose of wealth is not a value in and of itself. Property, wealth is only a means. Okay? It's what you do with it. Do you keep it to yourself or do you share? Do you lend out money? Do you give to charity? Do you help the yeshiva world? Do you help developing the land of Israel? Do you help poor families and so on and so forth? Or not? There are a lot of people that are blessed with properties, with assets, but they see that as an objective in and of itself. Im ein kemach, ein Torah. The kemach that God will give you is what? For the purpose of sanctifying our lives, of doing things which are valuable. Okay? So far, we see the relationship between these two verbs, Yivarachacha and V'yishmerecha, in general, as the giving of goodness, physical, material goodness, and also preventing what? Loss. Preventing the loss of the goodness. Okay? That's two brachot. However, there's a very interesting commentary brought by Rabbi Naftali Tzuyuda Berlin. Again, the Rav, the commentary that I use often, who is a colleague of Rav Kook in the yeshiva in Volozhin. He says, regarding V'yishmerecha, can you just lower it one more degree, please? The Shalah, thank you. V'yishmerecha, we're getting heated up in Torah. Torah's like fire, right? Can you wipe the sweat off my face? Thank you very much. There you go. V'yishmerecha, the Tzivah legend says, every owner of assets, according to the assets he has, requires protection, that the assets and the wealth only be used for the good. What is he talking about? There are people that are the owner of material assets, and there are people that are owners of spiritual assets. If you have spiritual assets like a certain level of the study of Torah, that you only use it for a good purpose, and you don't use it for negative purposes. In other words, anyone and everyone that is the owner of whether material or spiritual assets requires protection, that those assets not be used negatively. God forbid, a person can develop his Torah skills, and then he can use it negatively against people, against the public, and instead of creating a sanctification of God's name, he's creating a desecration of God's name. So the uniqueness of the Netziv's explanation, V'yishmerecha, is that the way he is blessed, may he use it only for good. May he only use, whether it's Torah study, or he's a businessman, or so on and so forth. May he use the assets, both spiritual and or material, whatever he's blessed with, only for good matters, and God forbid, not bad matters. With that, we can go on to the second line. Here we see, too, that the formula is that right after the first verb, Ya'er, is Hashem's name. And it, too, has a second verb, Vichuneka, like the first line. Many enjoy explaining Ya'er, that the second blessing is relating to the spiritual world, because Ya'er comes from the word or light. Okay? And light, of course, is always usually related to Torah. In fact, Torah itself comes from the word or, oraita, Torah. Okay, lehorot, to instruct, but also or. So it's clear that's not enough, that God give us a blessing for the physical or material world. But of course, if there's no kemach, there's no Torah. So based upon the material level of having something basic, we need Hashem's panim, his countenance, his special supervision. The panim is the light of God. The face of someone is the light of someone. Okay? And that this or be given to us with chen, with kindness, not with anger, but rather out of kindness, out of willingness, maybe even on a level that we deserve it, that God's Shekhinah is on us, okay? And that it's given out of chen, out of grace, out of kindness. And by the way, when we're learning how to adopt the proper character traits, we learn from Hashem. So just like Hashem is acting, so too should we act to others. And if we make mistakes, we can always correct them. But it's not enough for the material and for the spiritual blessing. We come to the final line. We're doing this very short because we're short in time. I beg your pardon. Yisa Hashem panav elecha. Yisa Hashem panav. Laseit, we've stated here in this room several times, means to carry, to lift up. There are people that are getting material blessings, spiritual blessings. But there are individuals in the nation of Israel that have very special divine supervision on them. We're asking Hashem basically in this request of accepting the bracha. By the way, Sefer Charedim. Sefer Charedim writes that just like there's a mitzvah for the Kohanim to bless the public, so too is it incumbent upon us, the recipients of the bracha, to be blessed. So when we're getting to that part of the repetition, we can close our eyes and think that right now not only are we recipients of the priestly blessing, but right now we can have kavanah in our mind, in our hearts, the mitzvah to be blessed by the Kohanim. It's a two-sided mitzvah, according to one of the great poskim, Sefer Charedim. Yisa Hashem Panav. There are times that there's just general providence over the nation as well as over the individuals. We want in our lives, Rav Shimon Frel Hirsch explains this idea, that we become the goal of Hashem, that we become the instrument of Hashem, that we become a building block that Hashem is using us in His world in order to bring the purpose of God in this generation to a new height, to a new level. In other words, I want to be part of that company. I want to be part of that group, that division, that battalion of those that are key people in this generation. I don't have to be doing publicly. I can do things secretly, quietly. Goodness and Torah and mitzvot and smiling. Okay, and the idea is that Pinchas always told us, you meet a new person, etc., smile to him, say Shalom Aleichem, promote more Avat Yisrael, as he gave in his wonderful speech on the night of Yom Ha'atzmaut. Can you remember that, Pinchas? Okay, and we want to think that if we can be the aim of Hashem, the goal of Hashem, then Hashem will do what? He will uplift His providence, Yisa Hashem Panav, His countenance to you. He'll give you, when you need it, special protection, special observation, special promotion. V'yasem l'cha shalom. He'll give you the ability in this world. This world is always changing. This world is always in motion. You have work, and you have traffic jams, and you have children, and you have crying, and you have this, and you have all these things. We're asking Hashem, amidst this tumult, amidst the difficulties of everyday life, can we be consistent in serving Hashem, in promoting Torah and values of the Torah, in being examples before everyone that will be worthy of Hashem's aim, that He will be lifting up His panim, His countenance, His supervision to us, so that we'll get even special supervision and promote Hashem's goals in our world. That's it until today. Shalom. Kol Tov.